Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Kimi. Now, this is the latest film from Steven Soderbergh and his deal with HBO Max. I've been a fan of Steven Soderbergh and his filmography for a while because you never know exactly what you're going to get from him. It's always at least thought-provoking and interesting, whether I want to watch the movie again or not. But especially his streaming movies have been a lot more fascinating than you'd expect from, I guess, what most people view streaming movies as kind of forgettable. I think there are a lot of good exceptions to that, but his filmography in terms of streaming has been amazingly solid. Like No Sudden Move, High Flying Bird. I didn't see the Meryl Streep one, and I didn't see... Are there two Meryl Streep ones? Jesus. He makes a lot of movies. This is a very tight, under 90-minute thriller that I really, really like. It is the kind of movie, like, I think... I do like classic Hollywood stuff, and I think one of the reasons I do is because it's quick, it's short, it makes its point, and it gets the fuck out of town. And that is something I do not see in modern Hollywood at all, like, not at all, which stinks. In Kimi, it is very tight, precise kind of movie, and it helps that this is written by David Kemp, who's written things like Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, Panic Room for David Fincher. He wrote and directed Premium Rush. He's also done Mordecai and less good things, but his good scripts that we all like are very tight, very well written, very well structured kind of things. That's what he's known for, and this is no exception. And Soderbergh and him working together make sort of a dream team of a thriller, which Kimi really is, harkening back to things like Rear Window and The Conversation and Blow Up and Blow Out. And, you know, you could see De Palma, doing this, but with like a bunch of creepy shit in it or something. So Kimi is about a woman, Angela Childs, which is a great character name, who works for it's called like Amygdala or something. It's the company's not called Kimi, much like how Amazon owns Alexa kind of thing. Kimi's like an Alexa. You go, Kimi, and she goes, I'm here, and all that stuff. Basically, when people talk to Kimi and there's a misunderstanding, they have people check these misunderstandings to kind of update Kimi's software to make the user experience even better. And so she has a queue she has to listen to every day, and one of the things she hears is what she thinks is a sexual assault, or could be a murder, or someone getting assaulted. Basically, she tries to tell it to corporate, and corporate wants nothing to do with it because they have an IPO opening soon. They're going to make a lot of money, and they have a vested interest to not have this come out at all. And she's trying to find out what happened because she's concerned, as she is a victim of assault herself. She goes down the rabbit hole of trying to tell the company that does not really want to get involved, trying to get the FBI involved, trying to find a way to help whoever was on this line or catch whoever hurt them, while everyone is sort of against her. At the same time, this is also one of the few films, maybe the first, is that the first I ever reviewed on this channel that even acknowledges COVID, because she's wearing a mask, it's during COVID, and she's agoraphobic, so she doesn't like to go outside anyway. So it's like, which, I mean, I don't either. So it adds to like the kind of quarantine life. It's like one of the first thrillers to show you how scary it is to go outside in modern society. Even showing you how crazy tech is. Like there's a part where they scan her eye, a retinal scan, to get in the building, and she's like, I never consented to a retinal scan. Like, oh, well, we do that like, when you do Zooms with our office, it's in the terms and conditions you didn't read. And you're like, oh, that's definitely something that's happened to me probably. So this film, Steven Soderbergh, as an older director, I think there's two things: you can kind of just get stuck in your own nonsense, which happens really more often than not. But what I think Steven Soderbergh's doing here kind of reminds me of later Fritz Lang. If you watched his kind of Hollywood noirs in the 50s and stuff, when you get one to really hit, I think it's like While the City Sleeps. There are a couple that I've seen and I can't remember the names of. Was it Beyond a Reasonable Doubt? I didn't like, but there was a couple he did that when they were tight, they worked amazingly well, and you could see a master at work. And I think that's what you're seeing with Steven Soderbergh with Kimi. He knows how to do a thriller, and even harkening back to other directors, like there's one thing that's like Fincher, but Kemp wrote Panic Room, which you could say this is like Rear Window. I do kind of see the older director kind of Fritz Lang thing in that, although Hitchcock was not young at all when he made Rear Window, so it's probably an apt thing that like these very tight thrillers are usually done by people who have years of experience and know how the genre and filmmaking really works, and use their performers very well. And this has actually great performers. Zoe Kravitz is really great as a lead in this film. This might have been Warner's idea to like, have her be in Batman and be in this to really sell her as a star. Whatever, that's fine. But like, hey, they did a good job because she did a great performance, as well as Erika Christensen from Traffic. So that was a nice little Traffic reunion for her and Soderbergh. Rita Wilson, I actually really liked as a HR person. I think she was next level in that. She's really great as an HR person. You had every front, like you had a David Wayne cameo, Andy Daly, but also Devin Rattray, who is Buzz in Home Alone. And it does actually have some Home Alone things in here, which were better than that Home Alone thing we got earlier this year or in December, which was horrible. This was better than that. I like that this film is not negative about technology. It's negative about the people who run the technology, not negative about the technology itself. It shows someone who enjoys and understands new things, which Steven Soderbergh always has done. I think it's a really smart movie, but I do understand why people disregard it, because when you see thrillers like this and it's really tight, it feels like, just like a nothing thing, and like you kind of underappreciate the preciseness of it. But I've seen so many thrillers and so many like long con kind of things, and they're drawn out and stuff, and they don't hit me or make me think about them as much as this film did. I very much think about this and how tight it was, and like it kind of feels like almost the film says so much there's nothing to like critique or something. But I mean, there's like very minor things. I think like towards the end, like the reason you don't have agoraphobia really flaming up is like, what is she just gonna scream and hide in a corner? That sounds like a terrible movie. I don't want to watch that movie. So I totally get why they didn't do that in this film. There's certain times you break things for a good reason, and I think that's true. But this is like a good night in kind of movie. You're gonna have a good time. It's a solid film, which I think is Soderbergh's been really good at lately. And this, and I think No Sun Moves, share a kind of very tight thriller, very adult kind of movies toward a thing. This is, I wouldn't say it's a one-hander, but it feels like how you would do a one-hander in COVID, where you're trying to reach out to people, where you're seeing people across the way, things like that. It's a smart film that uses COVID with the thriller thing, which I quite like, and the people were wearing masks. I totally agree with that. As well as Robin Givens as her mother. I like that. That was cool. I would say this is actually, people always say, what is a good film for film students to watch? And usually when you watch a film by someone who's more experienced, it kind of gives you the wrong lessons. You're like supposed to be excessive and spend too much money or something. This is a good economical storytelling lesson, because nothing is wasted. Everything makes sense. Everything works. Everything has this, everybody understands technology vibe to it. It understands the modern world like so well that like most films you're like they're mentioning how everyone's on like some weird Facebook amalgamation that they made up, and at least in this, like, they acknowledge these other companies, and they have Kimi, and it feels like very natural. Like I quite like that, actually. Often when films do the natural, and people naturally use technology, it's like Unfriended, and that movie's horrible. And like in this, it's like this movie's smart, and it understands the internet and understands technology, and I quite like that, as well as a great turn from Zoe Kravitz. This is just a solid kind of film. Everybody talks about they miss the mid-budget film, and I see that all the time. This is a great mid-budget film, and it's right there. It's on HBO Max, and to me, it's like if you're seeing anything right now other than catching up on Oscar stuff, it should 100% be this, because it's just a solid home run of a film. It's I think I like it more than most people would. I think much like Premium Rush got more appreciation as it went on. When this is better than Premium Rush. It was a great turn from Zoe Kravitz. It shows like the promise of a much larger career as a lead. I watched High Fidelity, and that was great, but this is another great performance from her. I think it shows how she can work in a thriller very well, and it shows Soderbergh how tight and well managed of a filmmaker he can really be. And I think him and Kemp really work very well together. Although I like him and Lem Dobbs and various other screenwriters he's worked for, I want more Soderbergh David Kemp movies, and there probably has been one because they make so fucking many movies. But I would like if he made just 10 of these, I'd be happy with that. It sort of reminds me of the economy of something like Haywire as well, which is a film I quite like, despite the protagonist in that. But this is, I think, a very solid film. Don't underappreciate and don't miss it. There's a lot of great filmmaking lessons in here that this film does so seamlessly. You almost don't miss them and underappreciate them. But that's the true genius of what's going on in films like this. And I think someone who understands this thriller, understands filmmaking, understands how to use Hitchcock and De Palma and Fincher and Lang and all that stuff is a filmmaker we should be appreciating a lot more than we are. And Kimi's kind of one of those movies that, like, you might have film Twitter and all that stuff, but this is true, honest, pure kind of filmmaking in a way that I'm always going to love, and I think is just what movies are made for, even if this is just a streaming exclusive. So if you have seen Kimi and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.